I'm here with Nate the Train Landwehr. He takes on Dooho Choi in the opening fight of UFC 310. Grew up in Tennessee, played other sports, ran track in college. When did the light go off in your head that you wanted to get into fighting?
Oh man, really? I was in college. I watched it. I watched some UFC. I forget. I was like, man, I think I could probably fight these guys. What is this stuff, you know? And then when I came back home, I just happened to run into a gym. I think it was like I want to say like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I ended up taking my first fight that Saturday. Boom, I had 20 fights as an amateur in 2 years, and that was that. I was hooked. I think it was better that I won right off the rip. So like, okay.
So you joined the UFC back in 2020.
Yeah.
Weird time in the landscape of the sport and sports in general. You came from M1. What was that like joining the UFC at such a unique time? Your first fight was right before everything shut down, and then your second fight was right after everything had kind of shut down in Jacksonville.
Man, it was like probably they always say don't meet your idol, right? It was like you build it up. I was coming from a huge promotion over there, M1 Global, and I come here, and it's like, okay, no fans. It was kind of like, man. But, you know, we here now, pay-per-view, opening fight, let's go.
And so 4 years later, like I said, you are opening up the main card. What does that mean to you? Because there's some champions buried in the prelims. Does that kind of give you extra motivation or make you feel proud that the UFC kind of recognizes that you're always going to come?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm already highly motivated. That really doesn't change. But it really is kind of like a catch-22 because now my homies got to pay for the pay-per-view. But it's like I could be like Nate the Train on the pay-per-view, you know what I mean? And it's cool because Joe Rogan gonna be there. It's my first time with that, so it's pretty dope. How about give me a spot on the podcast, you know?
I don't know if you pay attention to this type of stuff, but you are the favorite in the betting markets. Do you look at that stuff or use that as motivation?
Yeah, man. I mean, it'd be better if I was the underdog, if I could make some cash with some bets, but it is what it is.
When you do your post-fight interviews or when you're at the press conferences, are those like one-liners that have kind of gone viral, those planned or something you think about?
Yeah, man. I don't know if it's really planned. It's kind of like, I would say like a freestyle rapper. He got a couple of verses, but you got to come up off the top of your head with something, you know what I mean? I think some of my best work just comes to me, man.
Now that the UFC and the WWE are under the same umbrella, obviously being prolific on the mic is a good skill to have in professional wrestling. Yeah. Is that ever something you've thought about? Will you maybe join the WWE post UFC?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I seen that Vince McMahon documentary, and I realized that I did grow up in the Attitude Era, and I think that explains a lot, man. You know, that's the bottom line, baby. You know what I mean?
Is there a certain wrestler that you like took motivation from when it comes to being on the mic, or the way you kind of carry yourself as a fighter?
I mean, I just think I realized that it's the Attitude Era is what they called it. I realized that was when I was watching it as a kid. You got this kid. I feel like if you've never been chokeslammed or something, or power bombed through something by your brother or your friends, I mean, that was no childhood.
Say you get your hand raised on Saturday night. What's next? Do you think you get a number next to your name? What do you want to do in 2025?
Yeah, man, I try not to think that far. After I get my hand raised, I feel like it's gonna come to me where I want. That's the way it goes, baby. God will provide.